Everyone, Yolande here, your image consultant or stylist, uh, certified life coach, and brow guru. I am the founder and CEO of Yolande Consulting and the Confident Woman Academy. My mission is to help women who have been through broken relationships or brokenness in their life, help them to reclaim their power and confidence through my coaching method and fashion style. Now, you see me here today, but this is not where I always was. Okay? I experienced a lot of challenges in my life that I had to come back from. Those included poverty, low self esteem, low self image, poor body image. Okay? Which led me into a marriage at a very young age where I experienced emotional and psychological abuse. That marriage lasted a long time and did a lot of damage to my mental psyche. Now, when that marriage ended, I had to start all the way from the bottom again. I was an adult woman and I didn't even know how to do a lot of things. I felt like I was a college student just starting off in life. But through it, I was able to, or despite it, I was able to go back to school, become a nurse, and within a few years, become a director of nursing and really become the leading lady of my life. But while I was doing that, there was still a passion I had on the inside. I wanted to help other women who have been through what I've been through. I saw a lot of women around me struggling and suffering, and I wanted to be of service. So after not being able to let that fire within me go, I left my career, went back to school and became an image consultant or a stylist and a certified life coach. And I use those tools to help build women's confidence from the inside out. So that's what happened with me. That's how I came back from my challenges. Was it easy? Absolutely not. But I want you to know today that you can rise from your ashes. You can arise from the things that have been challenging you. So today I'm going to be talking about rising from the ashes, 5 steps to finding beauty after devastation. So here we go. But I first want to ask you a question. Ladies, how many women do you know out there who are stuck? They have a dream, they have a passion, but they are just stuck. All right, put in the chat, me. Okay, now, why do you think they're stuck? What do you think is holding them back? Well, I just have one thing I want to say that's holding them back. They don't know how great they are. They don't know what it is that they have to offer because they're so focused in on what they have lost or what they are going through. Okay? But I'm going to talk about the 5 things that can help us find our beauty. What is it that's inside of us that needs to come out? And that's what I describe beauty as, the thing that is within us that shines on the outside. Okay, so I'm going to be talking about you can't escape the fire. That's point number 1. Point number 2 is the fire is there to shape you. Point number 3 is don't get stuck in the ashes. Point number 4 is you can thrive. And point number 5 is you can rise. So here we go. Point number 1, you can't escape the fire. Okay, now sometimes, a lot of times we go through things in life and we get stuck in that mindset. You know, you get stuck in your past and you start identifying with the things that you've gone through. Okay, like for me, when I went through my divorce, I was thinking, I'm a divorcee. Oh, that's all I'm going to be seen as. And then I started thinking, who's going to want me? I'm a divorced woman. I felt like my life was over. My life was ruined. I had the big D on my forehead that said divorced. And that's how I felt. I carried around that weight. And then I started asking myself, why did this happen to me? Why me? Why did I get divorced? Why did my dream of living happily ever after didn't happen? And so on and so forth. I started saying, well, why couldn't it go a different way? And how come this happened to me? I started asking a lot of these questions and just focusing on my pain. But eventually I came to realize that sometimes you can't escape the challenges of life. There are some challenges that we're able to avoid, but there are some that we cannot escape. Okay. Now, who's out there who's been tried to escape some fires? Put me in the chat, me. Okay. I know I tried, but what I ended up doing was running from one situation into a worse situation. For example, I got married at a very young age at 21, and I did so because I was running from a situation at home. So instead of dealing with that situation at home, I ran and I thought I was escaping to a better situation, but I actually escaped into or ran into a worse situation. So there were some things that I needed to deal with, and I had no other choice but to deal with it while I was in this marriage. And it was not a fun marriage. I experienced a lot of emotional and psychological abuse. And this marriage lasted 10 years of me going through this struggling and pain and trying to find validation and trying to get love and receive love and all these different things that I had to go through in these 10 or 11 long years of being married. And same with you. Think about the things that you're facing, things that you probably tried to escape from, but you ran right into, a situation that you couldn't escape, or it may be something that came to you where maybe you tried to start a business and you wouldn't get a bank loan, or maybe you had a relationship that ended, or you had something devastating that happened to you personally. Maybe you were physically abused or sexually abused, or whatever it is that fire was for you, and you're trying to figure out, why did this happen to me? But I want to propose to you that there is a purpose in this fire. And you might say, well, what purpose could there possibly be in me being sexually assaulted or physically abused or whatever else, or losing everything, maybe going through bankruptcy? You're like, what is the purpose of that? But we are talking about the comeback champion. So there is a comeback in there. And like you, I felt the same way. I just couldn't make any sense of going through what I did, going through a divorce and having to start all over again as an adult woman. Okay. But I want to let you know that there is a purpose in it. And sometimes we have to go through things because we need to be molded. We need to be shaped. So point number 2 is that we are shaped in the fire. Sometimes there are things in us that need to be removed, and the only way it can be removed is by going through the fire. Okay, and what does fire do? Fire not only burns, but it also purifies. So as you go through the fire, things are being burned out from you. You're being made more flexible. You're being made moldable, so that maybe things that you would not have considered before, you might start considering. Maybe attitudes that you had that you probably would have just said, oh, that's just me. You might have to start thinking about, well, maybe I may have to adjust this, or maybe a pathway that you were on in terms of business, and you kept on getting that slammed door, that you may be forced to think in a different way that you weren't thinking about. Okay, you may be forced to be more creative. So let's think about, what is it that fire that you're experiencing, that circumstance, that challenge, that disappointment that you are facing, what is it causing you to have to do differently? What is it softening you about? What is it causing you to have to let go of in order for you to move forward? Okay, and that sometimes that's the purpose of the fire. And as we go through the fire, it's not always fun. I know going through this whole very challenging marriage was not fun. Many times I wanted to be out, but I didn't see a way out. And I'd actually reached a point where I had resigned myself, like, okay, this is what my life was going to be like. But thankfully for me, that's not what happened. But being thrusted out of it and losing all my security in terms of financial, familial support system, all these things that I lost after the divorce, I had to find a way to build myself again. I had to find a way to grow, to figure out who I was, after going through this great loss. Because like I said, I didn't just lose the marriage, I lost financial security, stability, I lost friendships, I lost a support system, and I had to build again. So what is it that you have to do now that you're faced with this challenge? And fortunately for me, I decided to go back to school, like I said, earlier in my intro, but the fire was so strong that I actually ended up giving up on that. So I wanted to say number 3 was, don't get stuck in the ashes. So you've gone through the fire, things are burning, things are being burnt off of you, and sometimes it's getting hot in there, and you might be tempted to abort the process. But if you abort the process, you may never find out what is it that you were supposed to become. You may have never learned the lesson that you were supposed to learn. And so back to my story about me leaving nursing school, because it became too intense. The fire of nursing school became too intense, and I left. And fortunately, I met someone while I was there practicing the art of cosmetology. One of my clients was like, girl, what's wrong with you? You need to get back into nursing school. You got a scholarship. So I went back, and thankfully I did, because by becoming a nurse, eventually it led to me becoming a director of nursing, something that I never thought I would have been able to achieve. But that was something I would have never been able to see while going through the fire of nursing school. I would have been stuck right there in that situation. And while nothing was wrong with being a cosmetologist, that was not what my journey was supposed to be. I had to go through the fire and push through that in order to see the success on the other side. Okay, so what is it that you're thinking of aborting so that you wouldn't have to experience the pain? Maybe you're like, you know what, this business is not working, let me give up on it, let me pull back. But it may be that you just have to stay a little bit longer, push a little bit harder, be a little bit more creative. You got to push. And by pushing, you gain muscle, you gain strength, you gain fortitude, not only emotionally, but also psychologically. You gain that strength, that determination to keep pushing forward, because you don't want to be the person that always give up when challenges come. So a lot of times we got to push through the pain so we don't get stuck in that place, so we don't die in that place. So the ashes, as things are burning off of us, as we're being molded, we don't die, we don't get overcome by it and never move beyond it. And so like I asked the question, why is it that we get stuck sometimes, especially as women? We get stuck because we can't see beyond the fire. You have to be able to see beyond the fire. You have to see that there's something on the other side of that fire. And so point number 4 is, you can thrive. And you might be saying, Yolande, how in the world am I going to thrive in some ashes? How am I going to thrive in this fire? So close your eyes and imagine a dry place, a parched land, and then see a tree, a huge tree grown up from there with green leaves and full branches, and it's supporting life from that tree, but it's in a parched land. That tree is thriving in a dry place. Now, how is that possible? In order for that to be possible, that means that the tree had to find a source of sustenance, a source of water. Now, to do that, the tree had to dig its roots deep down into the soil. And same like us, sometimes we have to dig deeper. We just can't be on the surface level. When we face challenges, we got to push. We got to dig deeper. For example, I have a client that I work with, and when she first came to me, we don't call her Sarah. When she first came to me, she had very low self-esteem, poor, perception of herself, and she's in this marriage that she's experiencing a lot of, emotional and psychological abuse. Now she wants to leave, but she's a stay-at-home mom and she doesn't have the resources and the support system to do that. So by working with her, we were able to help build her self-esteem, build her self-worth, okay, build her confidence. And so now today she's able to go out there and she is working and she is providing support financially for herself and for her children while still in a situation that's not healthy for her, while still in a marriage that's not healthy for her. So the same thing with us. We have to be able to find a source of strength, find a source of sustenance while in a dry place, while in your own personal desert, while the fire is raging around you, while the ashes are falling and might try to make you stuck. You got to find a way to dig deeper, okay? So you can eventually come back. All right, and then we go to point number 5. You can rise, okay? Like the phoenix. As you go through the fires, as you're being shaped and you're being molded, okay, as the ashes are falling around you, you can rise. You can become that beautiful, whatever it is for you. For me, it was becoming the director of nursing and then eventually becoming this woman that you see before you today, becoming that certified image consultant, becoming that certified life coach, becoming the brow guru. Okay. Now, when I first started on my journey 10 years ago, after getting a divorce, I would have not envisioned me sitting in front of you today, talking and sharing my story and encouraging you to rise, encouraging you to know that you can come back from devastation. So like I said, as you go through the fire, you sometimes don't know what your beauty is going to be on the other side, okay? You don't know what is being molded and shaped in you that's going to come out. And for some of us, it doesn't take a long time. For others of us, it may take a long time. It depends on what it is that you have to learn during the season. But I encourage you, learn the lesson that needs to be learned. Dig deep, grow roots, don't get stuck, okay? Allow yourself to be shaped and molded in this process. Allow whatever needs to be burnt off so that at the end of the process, you are created into the beautiful image of whatever you're supposed to be. What if it's a business owner, if you're going back to school to get that degree, if you're, if it's in a relationship, whatever it is for you, whatever it is, your beauty that needs to be created in the fire, allow yourself to go through the process so that you can shine and bloom and rise. Okay? So say, I rise. Come on, ladies, put in the chat, I rise. I just want to thank you so much for sharing your time with me today. I thank you for investing in yourself, okay? And I have a free gift to share with you. You can go to yofreegift.com. That's YO freegift.com. Hope to hear from you soon. Be blessed. Bye.